Welcome to the Nerdiverse. Go ahead, sit and listen to the masters, the old heads, talk about what you love the most. Video games, comics, movies, and everything you need to maintain your week. Got the knowledge that's straight out the ether. Gonna need a drink and have to take a seat to expand your mind and listen to the speaker. Mike and the squad's gonna give you what you need. Please send in a question, come and get some answers, learn a couple lessons from the masters with the special guests. We got the green lanterns glowing on their chest. Yes, please sit back and relax, cause we're gonna hit you with them stone cold facts and allow me to be the very first to welcome you to the masters of the Nerdiverse. Welcome to Masters of the Nerdiverse, where we always have such sights to show you. You can always find this awesome podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. As always, I'm your host, Mike G, and with me as always is my awesome co-host,
Waka Waka.
As you remain, Fozzie Bear.
Uh-huh.
You are the Fozziest, the Bears, Winter Sturtevant. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. Couldn't figure out another introduction to do today, so I just kept with the Fozzie Bear.
Yeah.
I could do Waka Flocka. I could do that.
Dude, don't do Waka Flocka, man.
Yeah.
That drug will make you eat your friend's face off. Like, the ultimate real talk. People take that in Florida and try to fist fight alligators.
Right. Isn't that like a rapper's name too, or is that Flocka?
Yeah, Waka Flocka Flame.
Okay.
But they named yeah.
There's a video of like this girl, we'll just say is drunk, going up to him and like going, "Oh my goodness," and then starts twerking in front of him, and he looks like he has no idea what's going on.
Yeah. I think that's that meme where he just look around like, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
Like, Winter, do you be having girls like running up to you and just start twerking out of nowhere? And you're just like,
smack him. Get out of my way.
I said, get out of my way, man.
Yeah, I don't got time for that.
Yeah, I gotta get to Del Taco, bro. I'm tripping.
It's a $5 deal at Subway.
It's only for 24 more seconds.
Yes.
I want there to be a speed movie where Keanu Reeves has to rush to get like a Subway, a $5 footlong, and he totally almost doesn't make it.
I see what you get.
That's what I want. This is what I desire.
It could be Speed 3, The Chase for Jared.
Oh, I think enough cats in prison are chasing Jared right now. So, so hopefully that's a movie onto itself. Oh man,
that's gonna be like an HBO or Lifetime movie.
I know, if they could do one on Rick Paterno, if they could do one on Joe Paterno, they can do one on frickin' Jared, the Subway guy.
Frank Caliendo, he's fat enough to, or like he can play it, or like Kevin James from King of Queens.
Dude, I want Caliendo to win an Oscar for his brave portrayal of Jared. That's disturbing. Oh, this podcast is off to a rollicking good start, talking about these creepazoids. Oh man. Speaking of starting, did you have a week, my good sir?
I have had a week, and a week I have had is going super slow, but then it feels like there's so much going on at 1 second. Like today, I had like a whole list of things to do, but then I had certain youth come in that just wanted to talk.
Yeah.
So then I totally missed out on like.
I got to tell you about it.
Yeah, like I slacked this morning thinking that I could do it now, but now you guys are here.
What am I supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
That's, man, don't you hate that? It's like, you're about to get off work, and then a coworker comes over and just starts talking your ear off. And you're just like, dude, it's time to go, man. I'm just going to have to be real rude in a second, because I can't with you right now. Oh, man. Anything else go on?
Yeah, I did watch a movie that I did want to give I'm not going to do a full-length review. I'm just going to give you what I normally do, just to give the audience an idea, is that I have 3 options for a movie. There's the top of the list, which is buy it on Blu-ray.
Okay.
Blu-ray worthy. Then there's middle, which is stream worthy. And then there's the lowest of the low is $5 Walmart bin.
Damn.
Yes.
Straight up.
And I just watched The Polka King on Netflix with Jack Black. And I would give that a stream worthy, just right in the middle.
Oh, okay. What's that about? I'm not familiar with that film.
So Polka King is based on a true story of a polka musician, James Yuan or someone, whatever his name is, who kind of did a Ponzi scheme of older people investing in his company.
Oh, okay.
It's just like detail that whole thing, and about how he went to prison and how he got stabbed in prison, and and now he's back out on the streets and like totally repentant of his crime, saying that he's going to pay everyone back, but it's like you're not making any money, so you can say whatever you want.
Right.
Yeah. And that's like I showed you that video of the polka rap.
Oh yeah, that kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen it fully myself. The polka rap video.
Yeah, I did a slow burn cringe at my desk at work, and I just was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. I was like,
cultural appropriation at its finest.
Oh, yeah. It's like the Super Bowl shuffle. It's just like, not meant for human consumption.
Yeah, but besides that, my week has been A-okay.
A-okay. Okay. You gotta say it like Jean-Claude Van Damme. Okay. You say it just like that. I have too watched a film, and I will use your similar rating template. So this week, also on Netflix, I watched Godzilla Planet of the Monsters, which is the Godzilla anime that just came out. That's been getting a lot of noise in regards to what it's actually about, and the graphics, which are all CG. And I'm not really a big fan of CG graphics in anime, but there's moments where it's quite beautiful. Like, they do a really good job on the animation. Now, as like you, I'm not going to go into a full spoiler, detailed breakdown of this movie, but I will give it a $5 Walmart bill. Because, and why I say this, I will say that the animation is great. It looks good. Godzilla is well done. But if you're a Godzilla fan, like, you love Destroy All Monsters and the original Godzilla and the remake and even the Bad Matthew Broderick remake, which I unironically love, this anime is not really about Godzilla. He's just kind of there as a means to an end. You know what I mean? It's not really focused on his lore, or it kind of does what it wants to do. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like how a movie calls itself Baywatch, but has nothing to do with the original Baywatch cast or storylines.
Yeah, similar to Hellraiser 4 or something like that, or where it had like nothing to do with the Cenobites. It was a serial killer pretending to be.
You thinking of Hellraiser Hellworld?
Yeah.
I know all those by heart, unfortunately, because I am a Hellraiser kid. I'm a Clive Barker kid.
Can I ask you a random question then?
Sure.
About, Clive Barker, like a few years ago, came out with the something book.
What, the Hellbound Heart?
Yeah, he said that was the conclusion of the Hellraiser series.
Yeah.
But then I've heard of a comic book series that came out that is like a continuation from Hellraiser 2.
Right.
And people are saying the comic book is a lot better than Clive Barker's book that came out. I was wondering, what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I will be very frank with that. And what Clive Barker wants from the Hellraiser series is not necessarily what everybody else wants.
Exactly.
From the Hellraiser series.
That is like an understatement.
That's the biggest universal understatement. Yeah. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Like, Clive never wanted Hellraiser to become what it's become.
Yeah.
He had a very specific viewpoint on the Cenobites, on the lead Cenobite, which is technically not named Pinhead. He actually hates that name. Funny enough. He doesn't call him Pinhead. He either calls him the Architect or the head Cenobite, the lead Cenobite. So what the comic book is what fans want, right?
Right.
But what the Scarlet Gospels and what the Hellbound Heart is what his true non-movie monstering of the actual Cenobites is them being explorers of the further reaches of experience. A lot of this podcast, funny enough, is based off of Hellraiser, actually. I patent a lot of where I'm coming from, and like I see us as explorers of the further reaches of the nerdiverse. You know what I mean? Much like the Cenobites are kind of like astronauts, but for emotions and for pleasure. They're not demons. They're not from hell, right? They're kind of like these strange beings that go looking for the further reaches of experience, pain and pleasure, indivisible. They're not monsters. They're these creepy little dudes that if you call them, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
And they'll show you a good time, one way or another.
Here's some Waka Flocka.
Yeah, they give you 2 bumps of that Waka, and you're ready to get your flesh peeled off. Yeah. You're good to go. So don't get me started on Hellraiser, man. I can talk all night about that. But my opinion on that is, read the comics if you like Hell on Earth, and if you like Bloodline and Hellseeker and Inferno and all the other Hellraiser movies. But if you like the actual novels by Clive Barker, then you want to go with the Scarlet Gospels and the Hellbound Heart for your definitive Hellraiser information.
Well, it's like Clive Barker. I tried to read a Hellraiser book, going like, "Oh, it's going to be just like the movie." But then I'm like, why is there so much erotic undertones?
Yeah, the Hellraiser, the Cenobites were born out of the late '80s, early '90s BDSM scene, in which Clive Barker was very big in.
Flip out.
Yeah, and.
She loves Hellraiser, by the way. But she does
don't destroy the illusion then. Don't destroy the illusion then. Let her like it for how she likes it. But just being real, like he wrote that as in like being doms and submissives, but to the nth power, right? Infinite pleasure to the point of pain, to the point where it doesn't really matter as long as you're feeling something. And that's what the Cenobites are. They're these hell priests, is what he kind of called them, but they're not really hellish. They're not angelish either. They're just these weird dudes that have cosmic powers.
That listens to Ozzy Osbourne's Hellraiser song.
Oh, I hate that damn song. That's the studio. I do love the intro, though, that violin at the beginning. I love the intro to Hellraiser. Like, I kind of want a beatsman or someone who produces to make that into an actual beat, like a hip-hop beat. I would love to do a track on that, but anywho,
Hellraiser remix.
Like 21. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Hellraiser is a funny conversation all into itself, because talk about the artist losing its art. It's like it just ran away from him. There's nothing he could really do about it, but right where he felt like it really should be.
Yeah,
man. But yeah, don't see Godzilla, Planet of the Monsters if you're a Godzilla fan. You would be kind of let down, and it's just an anime that does what it wants to do. Other than that, I beat Knights of the Old Republic on iOS. I just kind of flew through it.
Oh.
I love that damn game so much. I was stuck on Darth Malak for like 3 days. If you're not prepared for that fight, and I forgot, that fight could be really... It's the last boss of the game. And if you don't level your character a certain way, that fight is really hard. Huh?
Many hitting a save, I believe there's a save point, and then you just keep reloading that save point. Going, oh, maybe try it again.
50 times this guy strikes you down, knocks you out, gives you, remove saving throws. It's just a pain in the ass, dude.
Right.
That fight. But I beat it with a light side run, so I'm going to go and redo it. And then beat that on a dark side run, and then it'll be out of my system. But I love that game so much. Speaking of video games, this is a good segue into the news. Yeah. I always do the Street Fighter, like, Like Brazil, like Japan. That's what I always think of when I think of the news. Oh man. Speaking of video games, the majority of the news this week is fairly light, but it's a lot of video gamey stuff, a lot of adaptations. And I wanted to start with the new Tomb Raider trailer that just dropped. It's kind of a movie based on the most recent Lara Croft Tomb Raider video games. And I keep talking about this movie because I'm really excited for it, actually. And the trailer just looks like a cartoon, but I'm kind of hoping it's not so crazy. Because you have the actress who's playing Lara Croft, who's like 5 pounds soaking wet, and she's like jumping 50 feet into the air all the time in the trailer.
Realistic.
In like pulling back bows and arrows and with enough pressure to like pierce human skulls through body armor. And I'm just like, I get it, but I don't get it. Like, I don't know. I just want to see it because I like those games a lot. I like the remakes a lot. I played and beat the original Tomb Raider remix. Kind of, it's weird to say original to a remake, but and I beat Rise of the Tomb Raider recently, and I just want some more of that. So hopefully this movie's pretty decent.
Now, will they have her do a cheat code in the movie?
Now, if a cunning director can sneak a cheat code reference into a video game movie without it being stupid, go for it. If you can throw the Konami code into like Doom 2, then I'm all for it. But the problem with video game movies, and this will be a nice little segment to talk about this, discuss how you feel about it, is that the moment you start taking them seriously is the moment you start making better films, right?
Yeah.
It took comic book films decades for people to actually start taking this stuff seriously, right? And putting serious directors and serious screenplays behind them. Otherwise, you get Howard the Duck and Superman, A Search for Peace or whatever that movie was called, and it's just like, it's going to take one director to sit down and say, I'm going to take this seriously. And the best of the worst of these movies are the ones that are fairly taken seriously, like Silent Hill, which is one of my favorite adaptations that's out in regards to video game. Film adaptations. Of course, Mortal Kombat's the best one. So, and I'll fight anyone who says different.
So you're saying Street Fighter was it decent?
Street Fighter was funny, but Street Fighter was good, but not for the reasons it wanted to be.
Oh.
Because what's sad is that was Raul Julia's last film. Super nuts. This like well-decorated actor, his last film, he was M. Bison, and he killed it. He stole every scene he was in. It was like the day Bison graced your village was the most monumental moment in your life, but to me it was Tuesday. Like what? So many good lines in that movie. Oh, that's my joint. That's my ish, as it were. Going along with other video game news, the Castlevania anime that was on Netflix has got greenlit for a second season, which I'm really excited for because that first season was pretty dope. Very short, but very dope. So, have you ever played a Castlevania game, Winter?
I played a little bit. I believe there was one for the Game Boy that I had, and
nice.
I was like, oh, that's pretty fun. And then I just went and played Pokemon.
Like everybody else, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I like the premise of it.
Yeah, Castlevania is awesome. It's those video games that tried to be movies in that era of like Metroid and like Castlevania, you know what I mean, and like Spy Hunter, those Nintendo games that were trying to mimic film.
Yeah.
I love
Unfortunately, the quality wasn't the graphics were not there.
Man, to quote that one guy from Iron Man, there was a time where the bow and arrow was the pinnacle of weapons technology. You know what I mean? So it's like back in the day, those 8-bit sprites were amazing, and little kids are like their brains were exploding.
Right, but weren't they already going for VHS games at the time?
Yeah, like ColecoVision and
yeah,
those are the dark days, man.
Yeah, see, no one ever wants to mention that is also part of the past of games.
No, it's funny because games have such a ebb and flow. It's like you have Atari, which was kind of hot garbage. It was dots moving around, right?
Right.
And then you have NES to Super NES, which was the 8-bit to 16-bit, where it was actually starting to look really good. Like I will fight anyone who says that Super Mario World is not a beautiful game. But then you get to polygons in the PlayStation era, which does not hold up. You know, PlayStations 1 and 2 were kind of super rough, man.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like that. It was just like play Metal Gear Solid, you know, by itself. Those polygons will fight you. And then you have now, where it's like we're getting closer to that uncanny valley, and the games are starting to look crazy. Like I just put in Assassin's Creed Origins earlier today, and that game is beautiful. You know what I mean? But once again, we're going to get to a graphic threshold, and the game's going to look garbage again. Just how it goes. It's the ebb and flow.
The circle of life.
It's the circle of life. And it moves the soul. That's my joint. It's a leap of faith. Okay, enough of that. Oh, man. And lastly, I wanted to do a PSA for everyone like throw themselves out of a window. The article reads, and this is a bit of clickbait, Dragon Ball Super TV anime to end in March, this March. And I want to give a quick PSA to those who haven't read anything past that. And Dragon Ball Z Super is the latest Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball, rather, anime that's being blessed upon us by glorious Nippon. And people are getting the impression that it's actually ending March of this year. And it's not ending. It's not ending.
Yeah.
It's going on hiatus.
Yeah. Keep your shirt on.
Keep your shirt on. Relax. Yeah. So what's happening is they want to do another movie, right? They want to do another big Dragon Ball movie. So they're putting the anime on. They're postponing the anime because I guess their budgets are tied together, and so they can't do both. So they're like, we're going to pause the anime to do this movie, then we're going to jump back into the anime. So everyone relax. Play Dragon Ball Z Fighters until the anime comes back. You'll be fine. Don't believe the hype. It's not going nowhere. It's making them too much weird money for them to just flat out cancel it. You know what I mean? Man, this podcast is going quick, dude.
I know.
Did you have any news that you wanted to talk about this week? Because the news was real short this week.
Let's talk about, have you heard of the game Sea of Thieves that's coming out?
Yeah, is that the one done by the guys who did, what was...
Okay.
Dang it. I know that game. It's kind of like the Communal Pirates game, right?
Yeah, it's where any ship that you see on the ocean is supposed to be another player controlling that ship. And it's like they haven't specified how big the world is.
Right.
There's like treasure hunting, like you are level progressing. I have not played it yet, but yeah. I've been hearing more and more about it, and I'm definitely going to purchase it. It comes out in March.
I hear it's like a Windows PC and Xbox One exclusive.
Right. Not only that, if you buy one copy for the computer or the Xbox, you also get it for the other system.
Yeah, Microsoft's been doing that a lot, where they're like, if you buy if you buy it on Xbox, you get it on Windows and vice versa. And I think that's really smart. You know what I mean?
About time.
Because you can, I don't know if you can share that. Like if I had an Xbox and you had a PC and I bought the Xbox version, could I just give you my Windows version if I don't use that referral key? I wonder how that works. That's interesting. Yeah, but see,
unfortunately, people are already like taking advantage. There's like an Xbox hidden, not so hidden secret of like people sharing their accounts.
Yeah, I don't like doing that, man.
I don't like it either. It's sketchy, and people go, "Well, I can do it. It's perfectly legal." I'm like, but the morality of it.
No, it's like I don't like it because for how I understand like how PS4 does it is that you can do a thing called game sharing, where if the person downloads the game too, if you're not playing it, they can play it for like an hour.
Right.
But all the achievements and saves.
more than an hour.
Exactly.
Only for Xbox, it's like eternity.
Right. And it's like they don't keep the saves end up on your console. They don't end up on their console. So if someone accidentally overrides your save, then you're screwed. Right? It's like I don't know.
Yeah.
Nah. I super don't like that, dude.
It's like, are you really that much of a cheap person to not like? This is where you at. This is where you're at in life. This is where you need. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's always that one guy. Hey, Mike, you have a lot of games, man. Can we do game sharing? I'm like, nah, bruh. I'm sorry. Polite pass.
Get out of my quadrant.
Leave the sector of the nerdverse. Yeah, I kicked them away into the sun.
All right, I'm just gonna go back to LimeWire. Bye.
All right, man. I'm just gonna go back to Pirate Bay and get arrested.
Yeah.
Oh man. Other news I thought about right now is that Superman is finally getting his red tights back. Oh, do you know about that story?
No.
Yeah, it's a long story and it'll be great info. So, remember the death of Superman?
Uh-huh.
Back in like the 90s, and it created the reign of Supermen, and that was where Superboy and Steel and Eradicator and Cyborg Superman were born out of. So because that happened, there was a rebirth of Superman, and he came back all blue and weird, and nobody liked it, right?
Right.
The whole reason was there was a lawsuit going on during that time between Warner Brothers / DC Comics and the estate of the original creators of Superman. And they were saying, this is our iconic character. Our fathers never really got the correct compensation. Pay us money, right? So DC was like, no, we own the name Superman. And if it comes down to costume design, we can just change that. So that's why you got your blue Superman, right? Uh-huh. And nobody liked it. Everyone hated it. So they did the Reign of Superman, which was all technically Superman, but all completely different designs from Superman, right? So they could maintain that lawsuit. And even when Superman came back, he came back in a black suit with the mullet. And they kept trying to change his appearance just enough so they don't have to pay the family of the original creators, Schuster, and I can't remember the other guy's name. My nerd credit's all gone. But fast forward, Shyster and Charlatan, right?
Yes.
So fast forward to now, through the 90s, through the 2000s, through New 52, through all that, and Superman hasn't had his tidy whities in a very long time, almost 10 years since the New 52. New 52 is not 10 years old, maybe 6 or 7 years. So now at the 500th anniversary of Action Comics, they're bringing Superman back his little tidy readies, and he's gonna have his official Superman look again, which I think is stupid because that look is outdated. Because it's already been like evolution is already past the tidy whitey phase of comics. Like even Captain America doesn't wear them anymore, or Wolverine. Nobody wears the tidy whities anymore. It's like it's all a unitard or pants or something. So it's fun and nostalgic, but I'm like, it's a little too late for that. Right. And I just think it looks kind of silly in that regard, man. Oh, man. And other news, I'm actually just spitballing these here, is the DC Comics slate of movies was announced, and it's not looking pretty. They still seem like they kind of don't know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, movies like Superman has been announced, of course. The Batman by Matt Reeves. Nightwing has been announced. Of course, they're doing Shazam, which they're calling the anti-DCEU film, which I think is hilarious.
What does that even mean?
Because, right? It's so stupid. It's like they're a snake eating their own tail, right? It's like we're trying to distance ourselves so far from what we've done that we're going to do the antithesis of Marvel, which is not going to help you. Because what the antithesis of Marvel is doing a bad job, right? It's like,
right.
You don't necessarily have to follow the cinematic universe model, but it would be nice if I could see the Justice League and it makes sense and characters I'm invested in.
Like they should just, if they're going so off the rails, like first of all the movies that you just mentioned, none of them make me want to go, oh, I'm gonna have to see that.
Right.
But it's also like, why don't you just go ahead and give Kevin Smith a chance at doing a Superman movie with Nicolas Cage as Superman?
And the giant spider.
Yeah. And it's like, why not?
I'm at my wit's end with this thing, dude. I don't care what they do at this point.
Yeah.
I just want them to get their shit together. Like, I don't mean to be so brash, but just get your shit together, man. Like, you're DC Comics, you're supposed to be the direct competition. You're Burger King, right? You know,
Right.
like you're supposed to have it together a little bit. You're not going to catch up to Marvel, but you can at least try to right the ship. And you're not, and I just don't feel like they're doing that. You know what I mean? I just feel like they're still scrambling.
Well, the problem is, like, they are not losing money. So what I've heard, they're still making money from doing all these movies. So there's no real reason for them to stop.
Well,
same thing goes with Blumhouse Productions. Another topic, but
that's funny you mentioned them. Blumhouse Productions, the guy who spearheaded all those movies, The Conjuring and Insidious and Sinister.
James Wan?
The director, yes, but the actual CEO, corporate businessman who backed all of those is now running DC Films.
Okay.
Have fun with that. So, the guy who's done nothing but horror films is now trying to make DC a brighter, sunnier place.
They're gonna... Oh, jeez. Because the issue... Well, this is from another podcast I'm listening to. We'll See You in Hell. That's the podcast name. Check
Listen
it
to
out.
them.
Yeah. They brought up something that is like blew my mind. Like, of course this is it. That Blumhouse is like... They make all these terrible horror films, and the reason why they do that is because people are still coming to see them.
Yeah.
Because people go like, Blumhouse Productions, that's what brought The Conjuring.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Blumhouse is not just horror; they do a bunch of other stuff too.
Right.
I can't remember what the movies were, but these are like top shelf, like almost Oscar nominated type films, and. So that's one side of Blumhouse Productions. Other side is when they do like The Attic. Don't go into the attic.
Don't go into the attic.
Oh,
like,
don't go into the basement. That's the sequel. That sort of stuff. And it's like, and the one of the hosts on that show, I almost agreed with him, but he's a little bit more negative than I am. But he said that I'm only going to see the next like Star Wars episode, so that's the one 2 years from now, and then I think I'm done with seeing movies in the theater for the rest of my life.
A lot of people are going in that direction, man. It's the art of being in a communal theater and experiencing that with people is dying at a very crazy rate, because people have TV screens that are better than the screens at the theater, right? Yeah. And people are tired of like hearing people hack, cough, babies crying, one guy's frying a chicken in the aisle, the couple next to you are making out. Give me a slice of that pizza and I won't rat you out.
Chicken, not of the making out. You said making out right when I was saying that.
Well, man, it depends on the theater you're in. Is there enough leg room? Get in there.
Oh, jeez.
Just throw on an Eyes Wide Shut mask and just get it cracking.
One of those Magic Johnson movie theaters.
Yeah, no, man. No, you just go to like you go to like the one off Pico, you know, the one where you just wink and it gets cracking. But yeah, the art of going to a movie theater is dying with the advent of streaming and the comfort of being in your own home and watching a full-length film. Like me personally, certain films I like to see with a group, like Jurassic Park or Star Wars, where you're gonna hear the ooh ah, you know, like you hear the roar of the theater or them start clapping at a cool moment. It's interactive, but then there's time.
The next frontier.
Yeah,
that's gonna be. They already do it in. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep cutting you off.
That's fine, man. It's a team effort.
I'm gonna keep doing it.
Nice.
So,
one of those I'm gonna have to fight you, bro. We're gonna have to do a
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat. We're gonna be in locked in gridlock. But no, you're cool.
So it's like they already do it nowadays. It's kind of hard to get or find the access to it, but you can watch stream videos with your friends together. Like I believe Netflix, you can do it on the computer.
Yeah.
I just use Xbox Party, and then we both hit play at the same time.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Everything's
and
keeping it's trying to connect us, but it's keeping us separate if you think
Right.
about it.
That's how we watch Death Note.
Yeah, the illusion. Oh, don't get me started on Death Note. Jeez Louise. The illusion of community is being actually separating us and keeping us in a nice little confined space, right? It's like rather than playing, couch co-op on Street Fighter, you have to now play it online with your buddies, which is fine, especially if your buddy's like in Iraq or something. No way you can play. But at the same time, there's something to be said about the group dynamic, even if it's a negative one. And that's
Right.
and that's an art that I hope never truly dies. There's nothing like going to your first baseball game or going to your first football game and being a part of that communal hockey game. I went to my first hockey. I saw the Ducks a couple of years ago. I'm more of a Rangers guy myself, but that's my father talking.
What?
Rangers.
Okay, first
Rangers.
of all, you're in Southern California, so
I don't
you
care, dude.
So it's either the Kings or bust.
No, man, I'm not that guy.
And I'm a Sharks fan, so.
See, whatever, bruh. San Jose Sharks?
Yeah.
Oh, man, see.
Doing so well.
Hey, no one is, man. This year is weird, dude. But I'm just saying, like, I hope that doesn't die. And I hope that there's some... It lives on, like... It's like the drive-in movie theater, right? Like, it's not dead, but it's on life support, you know?
Just a bunch of hipsters keeping it alive.
Yeah. Drinking their mocha lattes and stuff, dude.
Stone teenagers.
Yeah. Who borrowed their mom's car and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. I guess any other news that comes to mind before I do my last little news piece?
I'm in the mood for some Burger King now. That's the news.
Get your Whopper with cheese. Don't forget the with cheese. There's cheese and there's with cheese, right?
Fortunately, I get the chicken nuggets. So.
Oh, man. They give you like 70 in them shits for like $5.
That's why I get the chicken nuggets.
Yeah, you get like 70 of them. You just eat those and pass out. I can't lie. I had rallies earlier, or checkers for some of those out there. Yeah. Oh, man. I heard this one news story about J.H. Williams getting mad because a character he created was thrown in a Justice League comic book. And I kind of wanted to talk about, do owners, once they've sold their properties, have any say in said property? But this guy needs to relax.
Yeah. Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Example, Alan Moore. We can move on.
Right. That solves that perfectly. Alan Moore, moving on.
Yes.
Right. All right. Oh, man. So let's get into some questions, shall we?
Yeah.
If you're listening to this podcast, you would like to ask us a question, you can always send that question to mastersofthenerdiversecast@gmail.com. That is mastersofthenerdiversecast@gmail.com. Send me your questions. Send me your... .com. A lot of singing on this episode. Oh, man. Too much of the songs. Oh, man. Speaking of questions, I'm going to ask you a very simple question. Winter?
No, I have never been a communist, nor have been a part of any communist uprising.
I'm not asking for your name, rank, and serial number, dude.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man, those times aren't here yet. Give it like 20 years. Oh, man, we're a police state, and it's just pictures of Trump on giant billboards all over the place. All right, Chihuahua. Before then, I'm going to ask you a very simple question, and that's, what do you order on your pizza?
Mushrooms or olives. Gotta go with pepperoni.
Of course.
There's some other stuff, but I've been dabbling in some other dark art pizzas, such as not Hawaiian, that's heretical, but I am going for like pizza that has like pesto sauce on it,
Yeah.
and then they had like chicken and garlic and all this other stuff.
Yeah, man. It's
Thin
delicious,
crust.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. As long as you're not putting like those Tide pods on it, you're straight, dude.
Oh, I gotta fix that.
Yeah, man. That's that Willy Wonka right there. It sends you to the chocolate factory.
Mhm.
Oh, man. For me, like you said, I've been dabbling in the dark arts of pizza. So it's really just like pepperoni's a must. I like roasted garlic on mine and
Yeah.
spinach. I like spinach.
Ooh. 'Cause you gotta
Spinach
get
on
your greens.
pizza is next level. What you said?
Gotta have your vegetables.
Yeah, I'm trying to work them in, man.
Yeah.
But with everything I eat, I'm trying to at least work in at least one non-carb, right?
Well, by the time, this is what I try to tell people because they know it. They just need someone to tell them.
Right.
Like by the time you have the spinach on there, you've wrapped it around cheese and meat and bread. So it's like you're just actually hurting yourself eating the green stuff because your body's going, this is not supposed to be with that. You're mixing your water with your oil or vinegar or oil vinegar.
Think about it like this, man. I'm giving you a compliment, right? But I'm wrapping that compliment in the worst backhanded compliments and cusses. Do you still feel good about that compliment after I'm done tearing you down in between? It's
I
the
like
same.
that.
It's the same shit, dude. It's the same
We
shit.
should write our own self-help book.
Nah, man. It will drive people
Called Steve Harvey Sucks. We can do it better.
Hashtag F Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
It will drive people crazy, like those In the Mouth of Madness. People read it and do you read Mike G? And like, no, they just kill you. You mentioned it earlier. Name drop some podcasts that you listen to as well.
Okay, well, I do have to say I brought down the number of podcasts I listened to. About 3 years ago, I had a lot of time on my hands. I was listening to over 100 podcasts.
Wow, yeah.
So now I'm down to 30 or 20.
Wow, okay.
I took some out of my list this morning. So I listened to the Joe Rogan Experience.
Okay.
Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, which is like he releases an episode every 3 months.
That's what's up.
Long.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah, Sword and Scale, which like combs the world for the most gross crimes that have been committed, and they talk about it.
Nice. It's a little morbid, but I feel it. I'm loving it.
Well, it's gonna get worse. So then there's Last Podcast on the Left, which is even more morbid because now they're cracking jokes about these things.
Yeah, after a while it gets funny, man.
Like they just got their 300th episode, I believe, and they're doing Jonestown.
Oh, and, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And then I have Theology Nerd Throwdown.
Dang.
Civics 101.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your podcasts are a lot more highbrow than mine, honestly.
They weren't. Geez. It wasn't always this way.
Oh, man. If I had to name drop a big inspiration to this show is the Super Best Friend Cast. Those guys are from Canada, and they have their own YouTube channel. They're just really doing it. They've been doing it strong for almost 10 years now. It's Matt, Pat, Willie from Canada. You'll see a lot of my podcasts in their podcast because I listen to them all the time, and I'm just a big fan. Also, the Giant Bombcast. I listen to that for a lot of my video game news. Also, I listen to Enter the Night Vale, which is a very weird. Yeah, it's a very weird kind of horror podcast, but it's set to a narrative, and it's really check it out. You may like it, you may not. Also, listen to Lore, which is another podcast that's being based off of it's going to be based off of a Amazon show. They're going to be actually interpreting. Yeah, I have to check out some of those episodes. Lore is dope. They talk about like the folklore from all over the world, and it's pretty dope, like how the guy spells it out. Also listen to this, as you mentioned earlier, I listened to the Clive Barker podcast where they go over like the most recent Clive Barker stuff, which is pretty cool. Also listen to the Horror Show podcast, which they do reviews on horror movies, past, present, future. And I also listen to the Horror Movie podcast with Jay of the Dead, and he does kind of the same similar stick, but one's more comedic and one's more informal.
Right.
You know what I mean? I listen to the Smodcast, of course, with Kevin Smith.
Oh,
I like Kevin Smith, man. He's a funny guy, you know. And I'm
jealous.
I mean, right, bastard. How dare he be successful?
Uh-huh.
And I listen to the IGN podcast. I listen to Collider a lot. They do a lot of movie news and like day-to-day updates and stuff. I draw a lot of inspiration from them. And I listen to the Drew Reviews podcast. I really like those guys. They do movie reviews, and they're also a funny mix of influential and hilarious, which is kind of like how I want my podcast to be when I'm not being so lowbrow. Mm-hmm. And the last one I listened to, which is kind of the one that really got me into podcasting in the beginning, was the Greatest Movie Ever podcast, where they do a lot of film analysis and breakdown. And those guys are brilliant. I love that show to death. My very first podcast I ever listened to was a breakdown of Hellraiser, funny enough.
Nice.
By the Greatest Movie Ever podcast. And it was like one of those moments where it's like they're talking to me. Like, I wish I was in this conversation. And that's one of the things that sparked me in my head. It's like, I should do this, right? It's one of those that really sparked me to want to get into this whole thing. Yeah. Good question. And last question. Off the top of your head, some of your favorite cartoons as a kid?
The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Very good.
Yeah. I think that style, because I grew up at a time where it was like the 60s weird LSD trips and cartoon shows kind of formed together.
Yeah.
And gave you Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, the Misadventures of Flapjack.
Oh, yeah. Those shows were epic, dude.
Yeah. And there was like something House of Imaginary Friends.
Yeah, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Yeah.
And it was like, and then I started growing out of them when Adventure Time came out. But it's around the same idea of like, these cartoons are not just for kids, they're for teens high out of their mind.
I like cereal.
Yes.
I like chocolate milk. I like cereal. Sorry, I really like that show. That was there was Blue, and then they made like this crazy, weird, distorted version of Blue. His name was Cheese, and all Cheese would say is, "I like cereal." I like chocolate milk. Sorry, I'm gonna be stuck on that all night now. Thank you.
Yeah, those are great shows. I mean, but then there's also a Codename Kids Next Door.
Oh, yeah.
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Epic. Oh, don't make them like that anymore, bro.
I used to watch a little bit of Ed, Edd and Eddy, but then it got a little sad.
I was just watching something online where it's like the true endings to these TV shows were extremely disturbing.
I saw the same thing. Oh,
right? Where it was like the true ending to Ed, Edd and Eddy was that he was actually owed in real life, and that he kept his memories kept slipping in and out, and that he was becoming senile, and that Ed was like, "Oh man, I fell asleep and I had a dream that I was owed," and I was like, "No, this is the dream." And then he slipped back out of it and was like, "I can't go back." I was like, "Oh, that's so depressing."
Like, well, so you saw the ending of that video then of the dinosaurs.
That's the worst. Yeah, where there was like the true ending of that ABC show Dinosaurs was that the Ice Age came, and pretty much they all died. It's like, what?
We're gonna live, right, Dad? Well,
sure, son. Oh, fuck me, dude. That was so rough. Not the mama. Super died. They all starved to death. A nuclear winter. An asteroid winter. Like, what?
Brought to you by Al Gore.
Brought to you by Al Gore. Oh, man. I have the weird opportunity of being old, and I've kind of went through all the different ages of cartoons. Like, I remember seeing Thundercats on television, right? As a child, as a very little child, but a child nonetheless. Yeah. So there was Thundercats and Defenders of the Earth and G.I. Joe and Transformers, Generation 1. And that was when I was barely coherent, like just running around, tripping over little Mikey Blue Jeans with his little spinner hat. And then I remember like cartoons when the anime actually came. We didn't know what the hell it was. It was stuff like Sailor Moon and Ronin Warriors, Sailor Mercury. Sailor Moon is my favorite first anime. Like that's before Dragon Ball. You know what I mean? My sister
used to watch it, and I was like, I don't know what's going on here.
It's dope. I was like, this is the best animation thing I've ever seen in my life. I would freak out. And then, of course, came the WB movement, or the Fox movement, rather, with Batman the Animated Series.
Right.
And X-Men animated series, and Bobby's World, and Tasmania. And then you had the ABC stuff with Care Bears, and Darkwing Duck, and Tailspin. Yeah. And Rescue Rangers was the coolest, and Gargoyles. Did I say Gargoyles already?
No, Gargoyles is legit.
Gargoyles is super legit. And then, like you mentioned, the Cartoon Network movement with the Powerpuff Girls and Samurai Jack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the Star Wars Clone Wars. And like you said, Flapjack. Ren and Stimpy. Beavis and Butthead, man. It's like, I went through all the generations of cartoons, and they all stand out, and they all have a special place in my heart.
Now, unfortunately, I do think that there's a trend in like children are there's got to be a decrease in children watching children's cartoons because of the ease of access to get to adult cartoons. Like it freaks me out, like how many like 12 to 13-year-olds and under can quote Rick and Morty to me.
Yeah, because the problem is that it all blends together. There isn't like there isn't Nick Jr. anymore. You know what I mean? Where you know, for every one Peppa Pig, there's Rick and Morty, Family Guy, and American Dad, right? Which is not for children. So you have 3 or 4.
Don't look. The parents aren't looking at what they're watching.
And that's the problem, is that the parents leave this stuff on that they're watching, and where's the children next to the parents? So
Logan Paul is the creation of you, parents.
Oh, Logan Paul. I'm happy that he's getting drugged through the ground. Screw that guy, man.
Well, he's saying like, give me a second chance. Everyone deserves a second chance. No, man.
Get out of here, dude. You're banished from the lands. If we were out in space, you'd be jettisoned. You know? Yeah. Like, forget that dude, man.
They give you a chance for being a lucky person making dumb videos on YouTube.
You had the biggest opportunity on the planet. Like, guys like us, we hope to get that kind of exposure, right?
Right.
If I woke up and this podcast got 1 million listens or views and like 500,000 followers, I would lose my damn mind. I would just freak out. And I would kiss the ground every day that I lived in that reality. I wouldn't throw it away because I'm like an adolescent asshole. You know what I'm saying? But as they say, age is wasted on the youth. But what can you do? But not to alienate my younger listeners, you guys are great, and I want you to strive to be the best you ever will be and the best you want to be in all of your efforts. Speaking of that, that's a good way to end it, right? In closing, what are you looking forward to this week, Winter?
I'm looking forward to a job interview tomorrow.
Oh, I'll definitely keep you in my thoughts, man.
Thank you. My job that I have now doesn't know about it, so they won't. So this will be fun. So
as long as they don't listen to this podcast.
Yeah, they barely listen to what I create for them, so it's perfectly.
That's totally fine. Perfectly fine. That's cool, man. I'm looking forward to starting up a new segment of this channel this weekend.
The streaming, right?
Yes, MOTN Plays, where I'm going to be on Twitch, and I'm going to be live streaming Dragon Ball Z Fighters. So I'm extremely excited to get all that cooking and learn how to do it, and invite you all to kind of watch me jump in the chat, just have a conversation. Just don't be weird, don't be racist, and we'll be totally fine. You know what I mean? That's all I ask. I mean, be weird, but don't be creepy, you know?
He's asking for it.
Oh, jeez, I brought upon the hell now.
Yeah.
So MOTN Play starts this weekend. Fingers crossed. All of my equipment's almost ready to go. Just a couple more components. And we're going to jump on the Twitch and see what we can get going. So I'm very, very excited to get that started. I kind of want to play Monster Hunter as well on there. But I kind of want to learn how to play the game first before I go and get bodied by like Diabolos or something. You know, man. Other than that, I'm just looking forward. I have a very big show I have to do tomorrow with a special guest. And I'm very nervous, but I'm very excited about it, so I don't want to spoil that. If you follow me on Facebook, you already know what it is and kind of get an idea of what it's going to be, but it's also a new segment of the show that I will be expanding just so I can get more content out to you guys. Any passing thoughts, Winter, before we close this bad boy out?
Endeavor to reach for the stars, but realize that the stars are several million miles away.
And probably dead. And probably dead.
Yeah.
The light you see in the sky is from dead stars that died light years ago.
Go reach for a book instead.
Reach for a book, bitch.
All these kids these days not reading.
You're not reading? You're over here on your television phones? Mm-hmm. What's going on? Oh, man. If you see a falling star and you chase it, don't poke it with a stick, bro. That shit may not agree with you. Here's my rule on falling star shit. Like, I'm going to touch it, right? Because it's a 50-50 chance. It's 50-50 that you get superpowers and I found the Guyver or some shit and I'm in effect. Or it's the Blob and you're going to instantly die. Right?
Or
but I'm touching it.
Creep show.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're going to turn it into a grass man. Something like that.
Yeah, please. You have to blow your own brains out because now you're Grass Man. You're a Swamp Thing and shit. So I'm going to touch it because I want superpowers. But I know I come with the caveat. I know the caveat of there's a high chance I'm either going to get radiation poisoning and die slowly, or I'm just going to become a goo monster and someone's going to have to put me down. I'm okay with those odds. Because for every blob in every creep show, there's a Green Lantern ring. And I'm putting that shit on. It's time to rock. It's time to rock in row. Rock like the box. Oh, man. As always, you can find this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. And I do ask for you to leave a like, a comment, or subscribe because it helps the channel and we love to hear your feedback. On behalf of the Nerdiverse itself, I am, of course, your host, Mike G.
And I am your host, Winter Sturdivant.
And I'm always going to ask you to take that one step beyond.